Hey everyone, just checking if everything is working fine. Just waiting to see in my return if I can see myself, which is not the case so far. So, should be working though. Let me refresh the page. Oh, okay, I can see myself now. That's better. I was a bit worried for a second. I couldn't see the stream start on my screen. I didn't know if everything was working fine. Can you guys hear me well? I know that a few weeks back we have had, well, maybe 2 months back now, we've had an issue with the microphone, so I'm just checking that everyone can hear me well. I see that we have someone in the chat. I'm sorry, that's what seems to be a name in Russian, I would guess. I'm not sure I would be able to pronounce that correctly. I still welcome you to the stream, and I hope that the sound is okay and that you can all hear me well. Just let me know, and if that's the case, we'll be starting in just a few minutes with the stream. Hey, I see Outsider, I see Nappy. I guess if no one is mentioning it, that means my voice doesn't sound like a dolphin like it did 2 months ago, which would mean we are up to a good start. Okay, so welcome everyone to the stream. It's been a little while since we had a community stream and a fight night. We'll talk about that in a bit. We'll talk on as to why it was not happening lately, what happened in the meantime, and I've got some great news to share with you guys for this stream. I'm just waiting 1 or 2 more minutes, and then we'll start with the easy and medium fight night. Only 30 players for this category this week. I think most people felt brave enough to go for the more hardcore or more advanced fight, which is pretty good, pretty interesting, and we'll see how this is going. I just seem to have an issue with the chat not refreshing properly. Let me just recheck that, and then we should be good to go. Let me see. Hey, hi, Vaviek. So yeah, seems to be working now. I seem to be receiving the updates. Okay, just before we start, I'm checking my other screen right now if there's any news, because you know that we have some European players, actually including myself, that cannot log into the game. Luckily, the device I'm using right now for the fight night is on iOS, and this issue at the moment seems to only be related to Android and only to some countries in Europe. The team is working hard on it. They have found in the logs where the issue comes from, and they are currently trying to get that sorted and deployed live. So I'm keeping an eye on that. Potentially, and I hope during the stream I will be able to let you know that this is sorted, and that you shouldn't be worried on this, and that you can log back in. For those that are not aware, it's just that some players right now are stuck at the 100% on the loading screen. Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on that on the side. If there's any news, I will let you know as we speak. So, without further ado, let's start with the easy/medium fight night. So we have, I think I said 33 players to go. I'm just checking who's gonna be first. I think it's, let me check. It's Summary that goes first. Then we have FedEx, Ladok, Aurelius, Kloppers, Drakaya for the first few players. So yeah, let's go. Should be, yeah, it's working fine. Okay, perfect. Oh, it's a dragon versus dragon type of fight. Cool. So yeah, a lot of news, a lot of things to share this week, and the first one, the one I wanted to talk about, was really this current issue that is happening. That's why I addressed it first, and it's something I will keep an eye on, as I was saying earlier, all throughout the stream. If there's any news, I will let you know as soon as I see it. They're asking me to verify if it's working fine on my end at the moment, but I'm gonna let them know that basically I can't really test right now. So yeah, anyway, we'll keep you updated on that part. Now, for the things that are a bit more interesting for everyone, hey, welcome Matremar, welcome to the stream. It must be weird for you now to be attending a stream and not hosting it. That was actually the next point I wanted to bring up, so it's kind of nice that Matremar popped into the chat right at this moment. I wanted to mention this because over the past few weeks there's been no fight night, and some people were wondering what was happening, etc. What happened is that we had Matremar, that you can see in the chat with his nickname, the Common Table, the name of his clan. Matremar was actually organizing a different type of fight night that he was hosting, and we have always been in favor of promoting and supporting anything the community wants to do in terms of interactions like this. We believe that, you know, a fight night is nice and it's cool and it's great that players want to come and chat a bit with me, but nothing will be as strong in creating connections within the community than when something like this is done by a player. So we wanted to support that, and that's why for a few weeks we said, okay, you know what, there will be no fight night, just so that your concept can be tested and that we look at it, we discuss together what might be interesting to develop, to change a little, and we also learn from his concept, etc. And that was super interesting. For those that didn't look into it, the Tavern Brawl, I really recommend that you check on Discord. There's some information about it, and that you check on Matremar's previous stream if you want to see how it goes, or that you directly attend the next one. The main point being that instead of me setting up an army and you defeating and crushing me, here the opposite happens, where you set up your army, you say, hey, come challenge me, and Matremar comes with his regular account, checks your setup via a friendly fight, and then he will decide and take a bet on a few different accounts that we set up together. One that is level 50 units, the other one is level 100, and a third one that is level 150, with also different levels of artifacts, etc. And he's gonna decide and take a bet on what account he needs in order to defeat you. If he's wrong in his bet, you're getting more gems, and if he's right in his bet, you're getting less gems. Sorry. So long story short, if he defeats you with the level 50 account, if I remember correctly, you get 100 gems. If he has to use the level 100, you get 200 gems. If he needs to use the level 150, you get 300 gems. And if you are able to defeat him, regardless of the accounts that he wanted to use, you're receiving 400 gems. So that's roughly how it works. It's quite interesting because you get to understand the strategy that Matremar would use against this player or that player, which is something that is missing from the current fight night, mostly due to the fact that I don't have this expertise, which used to be there in the fight nights back when they were handled by my predecessors, mostly because those guys have been on the game since its inception, so they had a very broad knowledge of the game, And even if I do my best to get there, I'm probably never going to have the same amount of knowledge than players that have been playing for years. And so that's a very interesting concept. We have not yet decided how things will go from there. That's something we'll discuss with Matt Remar. But there are 2 points I wanted to bring up there. First one is we don't have any plans for the moment to stop the regular fight night. So it's most likely going to be something that runs in parallel. The main thing is that potentially that means the fight night might not happen every other week, but it might be on a different schedule. That's the main point, I would say. The other point is that we are supporting this not because it's Matt Remar, but because it comes from the community. And that means if tomorrow you want to do something like this, you have a great concept, you're able to sell it to us, we'll be more than happy to also support you. It's not something exclusive, like Matt Remar didn't have to sign a contract and sell his soul to the devil in order to get some support from us. He simply asked, and we thought the concept was great, so we gave it a go. And we'll be willing to do the same thing for anyone that has an interesting concept. Would it be a kind of streaming, but also if it's, just organizing concepts or anything like this. Oh yeah, Matt Remar, you're saying you would be happy to promote someone else's stream too. Of course, yeah, that's the point. The more kinds of initiatives like that we can get from players, the better it is for us. So more than happy with this. Okay, so now let's jump to the topic that most of you will most likely be interested with. So let me give you some news regarding the global red boss, because let's face it, I think that's what most of you guys want to know about. So 2 things. Long story short, we're still roughly on the timeline we were looking at after we did the Unity update. So if you remember when we shared the roadmap the last time, we mentioned we wanted the global red boss like in the first half of March, and then there would be the Unity update. We exchanged things around. We ended up getting the Unity update first, which helped a lot of players to get back into the game and solved quite a lot of performance issues. And now we are planning to get the global red boss back. The global red boss should be released very soon. At the moment we're talking about, the plan is to have it running next week, early next week, Tuesday. That's the current plan. So the current plan is next Tuesday you have the global red boss. Now, please keep in mind, this is not a promise that I'm making, because as you've seen today with this current issue that we have on Android, stuff like that might pop up. And right now we are trying to fix this issue. If for whatever reason it needs a new update, for example, like a server update, a client update that needs to be pushed to the app stores, etc., it would necessarily delay a bit the global red boss. So the time frame I'm giving you is just what we currently plan on. But what we currently plan on is to have the global red boss starting next week. Compared to the last time where I showed you some video of the global red boss, we were able to fix quite a few things because we had a bit more time. What we fixed is we have now sorted everything on the UI side. There were some issues with the UI. Most importantly, some icons were not the good size, they were not necessarily intuitive, etc. So now we were able to polish all of that. We were also able to polish the rewards and the leaderboards. What I mean by this is that initially, if we released the global red boss like a few weeks back, you would have all received the same rewards because we did not yet add the tiers of rewards implemented. Now they are in there, meaning there's 2 leaderboards, you will get rewards based on where you place on those leaderboards. The leaderboards are only showing top 100, so if you're below the top 100, you still get rewards, but you basically get the same reward if you're 101st or if you're 514th. That's basically what it means. But above the top 100, there will be different tiers. If I remember correctly, you have a different tier for top 1. I think it's for top 2 and 3, 4 to 5, 6 to 10. I think then we have 11s to 50, and then from 50 to 100. That's roughly what I remember. And you have this for the number of attempts and for the amount of damage dealt. Those are two different leaderboards. So you will get those rewards. The rewards themselves, they are not final rewards. They are, as you know, this event, the first time it runs, it's kind of a beta. We didn't yet balance the rewards in an ideal way, because the plan is that the global red boss should not only give rewards like, you know, artifacts and stuff like that, it should also, and that's the most important part from my perspective, but it should give you access to exclusive content. What we mean by this is exclusive titles, exclusive banners, exclusive skins that you can only get by performing in the leaderboard. You cannot buy them, neither for Eternite, neither for gems. You need to achieve a certain spot in the leaderboards. And the idea on the longer run is that at one point we'd like to have one different design of global red boss per era. And so each time there's a new global red boss, you would have a different, well, access to a different skin, a different title, different banners. So that's the main thing we're looking at. So that's the news I can share on the global red boss. If everything goes fine, next week it's there. The first time it runs, it will probably run for like 3 days. It will be a shortened version just to make sure everything works fine, that you guys can understand what's going on with this event. It's pretty close to the regular red boss, so I don't think there will be a lot of explaining to do, but just so that you get things, that you get used to it. On the longer run, it would be a week-long event like the regular red, and we do not have a final decision on the frequency because we'll see how things are running for you guys. What we currently look at is to potentially have it run once per season. So that would mean the first week of the season would be the clan red, second week of the season you would have the global red boss. That's roughly what we are looking at the moment. Kim, I will take your question right after. I'm just sticking right now for the global red boss topic. Madremar, you're asking how do you participate in the global red boss? You're using portal keys, same system. At the moment, what we will do is that you will get keys, extra keys given out when we will run the event the first time, because it's a beta. We don't want people to be wasting keys if anything wrong would be happening, you know. But on the longer run, that would be using your keys. What will happen though is that the number of keys that are respawning would be increased. Roughly, the idea is that you should be able to take part in all the events. Of course, it's still gonna be key related, which means either you're a player that wants to basically participate in every single red and potentially not get the highest rewards you could, but you will try to be there every time, or you might want to save up to basically perform in one event to potentially break it to the top and see how it goes. That's basically what you would be doing. So yeah, regular portal keys and premium keys. Oh, we are already at the final player for the beginner section, so we'll move to the top. to the hard and advanced fight in just a second. So yeah, so that's it for the global red boss. Now, the global red boss also carries this name because there's something to gain for the entire community. What does this mean? That means on top of the leaderboard's rewards, there's also a different reward if we are able to all together defeat the boss. What it means is, let's say the boss starts with 1,000 lives. If all together we are able to blank out the 1,000 lives, all the rewards from the leaderboard for everyone, including people that are below 100, all those rewards get buffed, get slightly boosted. So that means there's something for everyone to win. Of course, if you're able to play for the top 100, that's nice, you get nice rewards, etc. But even if you're not able to make it to the top 100, you have rewards for participating. You need to at least have one attempt, obviously, to be listed and be able to get some rewards. But you also have an interest in making sure that we collectively defeat the boss in order to get a slightly better reward than you would if we were to lose to the boss by the end of the event. So that's the main thing. One other thing, I already mentioned that, but there will be different phases in the boss, meaning that after the boss is losing a certain amount of arts, it will change its attacks, its buffs, its patterns, all that is changing. The point being that during the week that it will last, you have different things to be facing, and that it gets still fun after a few days to use your attempts. Okay, so let me close that and go to the other event. Yes, everyone gets the reward. Let's move to the other account. There we go. In the meantime, I'm checking if we have any news. Let me see if we have some news there. Okay, can you guys let me know if it is working now? Because as far as I can see, it should be working everywhere. You know what? Let's do a live test. I'm gonna test on my account because I'm in France and I was not able to load the game. So let's see where we are. So far it's loading. Let's see if it gets started. It's there, it's working. So guys, if you add the issue as being part of the European countries that were concerned, it's fixed, or at least it should be. It's fixed for France. I've seen that people from the team mentioned it as they tried it out on different VPNs, etc. They tried it out for Germany and they tried it out for Bulgaria, I see for Spain, so it should be working now. Yeah, that's a good thing that we are able to get this sorted live. I will actually confirm to them. It's back, guys. Great work on getting this sorted quick enough, even if it's never fast enough. We'd like it to be even faster, but at least it's getting sorted. So okay, let's go back. Before everything, we'll just start the stream. So as you've seen, potentially I changed the setup of the army today. And if some of you are checking the tops of the game, you might recognize this setup, because this time I've been a bit sneaky. What I've decided is that from now on, because you guys always feel like my armies suck, I'm just gonna copy some of the top players' armies and see how it goes. So it's not a 1-for-1 copy, because I don't necessarily know what power stones they use, etc. And I might twisted up a little here and there, but I thought it would be interesting to check it out. So yeah, let me check if the event is live. No, it wasn't, so we would have had some issues. Let's start the event. First player to go is Juice, then we have Tsa, we have Said, Praetor, Heavy Style, St. John, and Rune. And that should be it, so let's go. Perfect, working fine. Okay, so now I can take on the other questions because I've seen there were a few things mentioned. Matrama, I'm not sure to understand what you meant by another person wanted to be on the beginner list, but that was probably a bit too late because I didn't receive mentions before the stream. So yeah, sorry, I got lost in my head for a second. I didn't get it in, so you were letting me know that the list was almost complete. Yeah, for this time around I didn't miss it for once. But I can see that someone was excited about the rest of the fight night. Good. Okay, so then you were asking how the ranking is based for the later attempts on the boss. I'm not fully sure to understand what you mean here. I guess you mean because the score is based on an aggregate of your tries, right? Is that what you mean? Because people would get higher scores when the boss is harder. I don't think the boss is gonna get harder by the time we end. It's different phases. So you're asking if the leaderboard is based on damage or on number of attempts? Both. That's actually why we have two leaderboards. It's because we thought if we were going by damages only, it's a bit unfair. We didn't necessarily consider the difficulty of the boss in there, but simply, if you think about it, all the players that have the highest level of artifacts, that have had way more time to fine-tune the attunements of their artifacts to get the best values possible, have an advantage compared to a newer player, which means a newer player, even if it was to use tons and tons and tons of portal keys, would absolutely never be able to make it to the top 100 if it was only based on damages. So that's why we have the attempts as well as a leaderboard. So there are two leaderboards, which means potentially you could have one guy winning both, and I'm sure we'll see that happen from time to time, but we'll also wanted to give a reason for people that know, like, oh, I cannot make it to first position based on damages because I know I cannot deal as much damages than this other guy that is in front of me, but in terms of attempts, maybe I can compete. So at least there should be something for everyone to fight with. And as we already stated, potentially on the longer run, we'd like to also have clan leaderboards. The reason why it's not in there yet is mostly, well, first of all, technically it's a lot more complicated, but we also have this vision that the clan red boss is a collective effort within your clan. It's not a competition per se, it's more of a nice collaborative effort than you do with your clan. The global red boss is an individual leaderboard ranking and competition. And then ideally clan wars would be your competition clan. So the deal is, if we see that it's gonna take too much time to bring clan wars, we might bring first leaderboard, clan leaderboards in the global red boss. But if we see that we can have the clan wars, then we would much rather have things separated and saying, you know, one event is for the individual fight, one event is for the clan, and one event is for the clan competition. This way everything is making more sense, especially for new players that would come in. If they see that they have competitions for their clan happening on 2 different events, which might at some point overlap or happen one after the other. They might not know what to prioritize. So that's why for now, we're just keeping it as it is for the first iterations anyway, and we'll see going further how we go for that. Earlier, there was a question from Kim. I didn't forget about it. Sorry, Kim. I just wanted to close everything regarding the global red bars before going back to your question. So you were asking what would come next after the global red bars. There are a few things that are planned. The next big one will be the ads implementation. So we've already done that, but with only one ad. We want to fix the gold ad that was broken right now in the was it the gold or was it the gem one that is broken? I think it's the gold one, right? We want to fix the one that is not working as it should right now. And we will also have a few new placements for ads. I can tell you a bit more about that. One of them is to bypass the waiting time on wagons. So basically, you know that right now you can do that with gems. If you get to a certain point, you will be able to basically just watch an ad and basically kill the waiting time instead of using gems. The thing is, it's not going to be linked to how much time is left. Like, it's not going to be, oh, every time you have only 10 minutes left, we're going to offer you this option and that's it, because the number of gems you would have spent anyway is very low. That's not how it's supposed to work. The way it's supposed to work is more random. It's like, from time to time, you will have this offer for one of your current wagons. This way we can control how many times a day or how many times a week people have this offer to fully bypass the waiting time of a wagon. But also that means, I don't know exactly what the probability is, but obviously the longest waiting time, the rarest, the less often you will be getting this offer, which just makes sense. You know, if the waiting time is super long, you have a lower probability of getting the option to just watch an ad and be done with it. If you have a shorter duration with, you know, the basic wagons, you are more likely to get this offer. But you will still be able technically to see it on longer wagons. So that's one. There will be one as well regarding rewards. So that means at the end of a fight, you would get offered to watch an ad and double the rewards you had for that fight. That would happen only after a victory, obviously. And before you're asking, yes, we took into consideration auto spins. So the way it will work is pretty close to what happens right now with the special wagons that you get, not the wagon, the royal shipments that you get at the moment, meaning that it will only happen within like the first 10 matches or something like this, so that someone that uses, I don't know, like 200 auto spins is not gonna receive it and get his game blocked after 100 fights, for example. So Matrama, you're asking why it will be. You're saying it's going to be a nightmare for you that run multiple profiles to keep the wagon timers synchronized. I mean, technically, you can see it as a bonus, right? You can just see it like when you're checking a profile, maybe it has this offer, you benefit from it, and that's it. If you value synchronization over the optimal waiting time for each wagon, then you don't need to change anything. You can just consider that this ad does not exist, and that's fine, basically. Yeah. So I guess that answers your question. I'm trying to think if there's another ad placement that is already prepared. I think the other ones that I have in mind are not going to be in this very iterations, so that I won't be talking about this yet. One thing I can mention that would come next is that we will be looking obviously at optimizing the global red bars, which means we're working on things like achievements for the event. On the longer run, we want to rework achievements anyway for the game a bit better, but for the event, what it means is on top of the ranking rewards and all of that, we will also have rewards for dealing a certain amount of damages, reaching a certain amount of attempts, etc., which basically should push further people to participate, even though they might never make it to the top 100. So that's why it's there. Am I aware of the decrease in shards in the festival wagons? It was 135 shards and now it shows 45. Yes, it's been reported to me today. As far as I understood from the players that reported it, it started yesterday night. We are looking into it with the team because technically on our side we didn't change anything and we didn't push for any changes overnight. So it's definitely a mistake. And I mean, the number speaks by itself. You know, if you would have told me, oh, okay, it went from 135 to 130, I would have not been too confident saying it's a mistake, and I would have just wait for the balancing team to confirm to me that it's not intended. But here it's definitely a mistake. The main thing we're looking at is why it happens this way. It seems like basically, for whatever reason, the rank is not properly taken into consideration anymore with some of the wagons, and that's a problem. Basically, it's giving you the number of shards you should get for way lower rank than the one you have. So that's yeah, we are looking into this now that the European login issue is fixed. That will be the next thing the guys will recheck, and I hope that by tomorrow that will be sorted. As for a compensation, I guess most likely we'll discuss it, but most likely what will happen is we'll try to get everyone a compensation wagon to compensate for that. I don't know if we'll be doing one wagon or anything more than this, but yeah, that's the next step and what we will be looking into. Whiter Hacker, you were asking when Wither Hacker, sorry, you're asking when is the Corrupted Dragon coming, because we don't have the Corrupted Dragon. I don't know. As far as I'm aware, right now we don't have plans for another dragon. I mean, are you talking about a skin, or is it an actual dragon unit that you want? Because for skins we can look at everything. For units, as far as I'm aware, there's not a new dragon planned, simply because the latest dragons unit have not performed quite well. To be honest, the thing is, those units, they always get a lot of expectations from players because they look great and majestic, and you know, there's something that just gives you that you simply want to play with a big ass dragon. But usually what happens is that it's always a bit underwhelming. Some of it could be due to balancing, and maybe we should have done it better, either us or Traplight before. But I also feel like part of it is because when players see a dragon, they expect it to be really over the top, and it's not. And so yeah, so far as I'm aware, there's no plan for a new dragon unit. It might come if we find a concept where we feel like, oh, okay, it would be good enough that it will get used everywhere, then why not? If we're talking about skins, that's a different thing. Yes, skins, we're open to any type of skin. Any skin you want, any theme skin you have in mind, just share it our way. I cannot guarantee that it will come or when it will come, but I can tell you that we're constantly creating skins. So at one point or another it will come. Exceptions obviously being anything that um, anything that is license based, we want to stick away from that, and anything that would be too offensive or such, we also would like to stay away from that. But anything else, we can try to think about it. Oh yeah, you are more talking about a new unit. That's what I understood as well from your initial comments. As I said, it's not that we have anything against it per se, and since you're mentioning it, maybe we'll check with the team if there would be a good concept for it. But as of now, I know that so far the results of the different dragons released were not that great, while at the same time it's usually among the most difficult units to get to get produced into the game, because if you look at the size, the animations, the design, even the skins, I mean, if you look at some of the wings effects on those dragons, they're amongst the best work that has been done. And I'm mostly talking even about Traplight's time, but even in our days with the game, some of those effects are among the most difficult we've done. So it's a super tricky unit to bring to life. If we feel like it's not going to perform that well, we'll probably favor something else. But yeah, never say never. More likely than not, there will be a point where another dragon would come. I don't know when. Okay, let's just check where we are, because we have quite some players to go today, so I'm not expecting us to be done yet. Yeah, we're halfway through. Okay. Yeah, so earlier we were talking about what would come next. So as I was saying, there's the ad placements that would come next. Then I'm trying to think what will be the next thing that would come. One thing that should come also in a few months will be a system allowing you to boost very temporarily the rewards you're getting. So unlike the ads that I was mentioning earlier would just allow you to boost the rewards you get from a victory or whatever, here we are talking about someone that wants to use auto spin and will basically use one of these boosters to get boosted reward for like an hour, and use all of these auto spins for an hour and get a boosted outcome. Or for someone that plays regularly and wants to use that specific time to get boosted rewards. So that's something we're looking at the moment. What else? I'm trying to see. Oh yeah, of course, something big that we didn't talk about yet. Ground Show event. Ground Show event is returning at the end of this era. So that's gonna be quite exciting, because if everything goes according to plan, that would mean next week you have the Global Red Boss, and then the 2 following weeks the 10 days after that you have Ground Show event. So that will be quite fun. This time around, I don't think it will be extremely different in terms of what is going to be tweaked. So for those that don't remember, Ground Show event is an event we ran between Christmas and New Year's Eve this past holidays, and what it does is that some units get heavily nerfed or heavily buffed. Some power stones were getting heavily nerfed or heavily buffed, and it will be the same thing just for the last week of the era, just to spice things up at a point where usually most players are done with the era. Um, but what we plan to do on the longer run is to also have artifacts being affected by this. I don't think it's the team managed to get it done for this iteration, so I don't think that artifacts will be altered with this event. I will recheck with the team tomorrow. I might be wrong on that, but I don't think they were able to get it done this time around. But on the other end, you will have the events returning, and here as well, the ideal for us would be that every era, final week of the era, you have the Grand Show event running. It is also likely that it's not going to be called the Grand Show event because it made sense when it was happening around the holiday season to have this character, etc. Here, it's not necessarily making as much sense. So, yeah, we'll need to see. I don't remember how the guys went around it, but it will be the same concept anyway, and that would be something that hopefully will run with every era. Yeah, so that's going to be something quite interesting as well. Okay, guys. Now is your turn to ask me questions. What else do you want me to talk about? What else do you want some news on? Okay, I can share some news about one thing because I know you're gonna ask. The merchant, yes, it's still planned. Yes, it's not quite there yet. I would expect it for the summer, not before, and potentially more the end of the summer. The main reason is that for the merchant we have two different aspects that we need to consider. There's the technicality of having this event running, all the UI that needs to be done, and these are things that take a bit of time. But what takes a lot of time here is the balancing, because for the merchant system, we'll definitely need heavy balancing, because we need to make sure we're not going to be making it so that it's basically killing the balancing of the game, and we still have to make it so that it's interesting for players. The way we look at right now, it would be an event that comes and goes. So that would mean every end of a season, or maybe every other season, the event would come for a few days. You would be able to exchange resources depending on what is offering to you. You would be able to bypass the offer that is offering to you. Most likely that would be somewhere where you can use gems. So let's say you have a 6 hours offer, you're not happy with it, or maybe there will be 3 offers, I don't know yet if that will be 1 or 3 or 5 offers that are displayed at the same time. But if you want to switch and get new offers, you would be able to use some gems to bypass the waiting time, or that's a place where potentially on the longer run we can also imagine that from time to time you have the possibility to watch an ad and bypass the waiting time again. So that's what we're looking at, and why it is going to take a bit more time, but it's still in the plan and it's not too far away at the moment. Yeah, ideally that will be a great change for the players there. Trying to see what else comes not too far away from here. There will also be most likely another rewarding system, something that you see in a lot of games. I don't know how it will be, if it's gonna be like a Wheel of Fortune or another system like that, but basically a system where every X amount of time you can get a reward, a random reward in a list, and basically that is available for a certain amount of time, and it's just a way to get players to log into the game on those days regularly so that they can basically get their freebie, and that's it. And of course with such system usually you have also a way, if you want to use some gems to get another reward or something like this. That is something that is pretty common to any game. Usually that's something we kind of like, because on one end, every player benefit from it, because even if you're not spending, even if you want to keep all of your gems for other purposes, you will still get freebies when this event happens. And if you're spending gems, it's usually going to be a bit more beneficial than getting the same element from within the shop. So it's the kind of things where everyone is winning from it, and obviously from the company perspective, that means you're spending gems. If people are spending gems, we're always going to be benefiting from it. So that's also something that is being looked at. Yeah, I think I covered most of the stuff that we can be expecting. And yeah, then on my side, that's mostly all I wanted to bring up to you guys. So I'm waiting for your questions at this point. Do you guys have any questions? I'm checking as well if the chat didn't freeze on my side, because it was the case earlier today, and no, okay, seem to be rather quiet right now. Okay, I mean, on my side, I try to see if there's anything else I didn't cover. For those that joined us a bit later, a reminder that the issue with the European markets where players could not log in for, I think it lasted for like 2 hours in total. This got sorted, so if you were facing this issue, you should be able to get back in now. We discussed about the global red boss that is ideally coming up already next week for the beta version. We discussed about the merchant system. We discussed about new ads placements. We discussed about the reward boosters, and we even touched on, like, I don't know if it will be like a Wheel of Fortune or something else, but a rewarding system that will come as well. We discussed about the achievements that we want to add to the global red boss once it's up and running properly. So yeah, we brought quite a few things today. Any news on Clan Wars? Matt Remar is asking. Yeah, at the moment the news are that there are no news. To be more precise, the work didn't really restart on it because we need to get the stuffs that I mentioned released. All the stuffs I mentioned, that's coming within 3, 4, 5 months. The Clan Wars in our current roadmap, it's something that we hope to develop in the second half of the year. So I would expect that either it's cut into different features and you might start to see that coming at the end of the year, or we release it in one massive feature, and then I would expect it to come most likely next year. That depends on how big it is, but the current concept, as I touched on a few times, it's very big. Like it's not just the Clan Wars fighting, you know, it's not just a clan is fighting against another and you get points and there's a leaderboard. The way we have been looking into this for now is to basically have kind of a possession fight where basically you would have a place to defend, like a castle or something like this, where first of all that acts as a hub for your clan, so you can decorate it with exclusive elements that you will get from participating in the Clan Wars, etc., and potentially some stuffs to buy as well, like skins, etc. And then you will prepare the defenses of that castle by basically selecting players, armies that will make it. So that means if you're the clan leader, you will basically pick the top 10 players to be the top 10 defenses of your castle. There will also be a few NPC allies for you, and that means your goal and the goal of your opposing clan will be to take down all of those places. players that are not that great can attack the NPCs. Players that are in the top of your clan can attack the top players and try to take them down, etc. And that would be the system, meaning that for the duration of the fight, let's say, I don't know, it's lasting for 48 hours or something like this, that would mean for 48 hours, you will constantly be losing territory, winning some territory, etc., or potentially losing because the opposing team was able to destroy the last line of defense and possess everything, at which point they would win the event. If not, it would be a points comparison between who was able to get the more points, the more damage, and if you have more territory, you would get more points. So I don't know, let's say you have 70% of the territory that is yours, then every time your team is winning some points by trying to defeat an opponent, etc., they will get a small multiplier, which is, you know, by 1.70, because you have 1.70, you have 70% of the territory. And then your opponents, during that time, any point they get would be multiplied by 1.3, because they only have 30% of the territory. So that's basically what we're looking at, which means it's not only you need to have clan leaderboards, clan matchmaking, you also need to have the place that you can defend, so like the castle kind of thing, which acts as a hub, and then you need to also be able to set your defenses, which is another feature in itself. So what I was saying earlier, by potentially we could cut it into several different features, is that potentially we could have, let's say, hey, we are releasing first part of the clan wars and it's the clan castle, I name it like this, but whatever it is. And so now from the clan icon you have access to this place. If you're a leader or the assistant leader, you might be able to take some actions within this place, change the layout, change how it looks, just for bragging purposes. And you know, you might be able to access stats from the clans and stuff like that in there. And other players can visit your clan place, so that means your opponents can also see your stats. They can see you know, what you want to brag about. So maybe you will have some banners that says that you won 3 of the last 5 fight wars you were clan wars you were taking part in. So you would have that feature. That could be one feature that you release on its own outside of the clan wars. Then the second one could be, okay, now we have the matchmaking and leaderboards, and for the time being you both attack NPCs, right? So you still have this territory system, etc., but at the moment it's only NPCs, and both of the clans can attack the NPCs, and whoever gets the most points gets first. And after 2 hours we look at what got first, then you get matched with another clan, and after 3-4 days we look at which clans were on the top. That could be feature 2. And then feature 3 would be to say, now we only have some NPCs and all the other parts of the territory are something that your leader needs to set up 1 day prior to the fight, to the clan wars, and then he cannot change it for the duration of the fight night of the clan wars. And then same goes, every 2 hours or every 6 hours or whatever the duration would be, you get matched with a new team. We see if you're winning, losing, depending on that you go up or down in the global leaderboard and you get rewards. So the clan wars, my guess is that it's such a big feature that it will be released in steps like this. Because if you do something like this, then it's okay if you need to wait a month or 2 months in between the different iterations and the different elements. If we were to release all of it at once, it would be amazing, but I very, very, very highly doubt that we'll be able to release it as one big feature all at once. And even if we were, then that wouldn't be until next year, because that's so big in itself. That's why, from my perspective, for the Clan Wars, the work will resume on it most likely for all the second half of the year. There will still be some small stuff coming around, don't worry, but I would expect it to come in bundles, like in specific features being released, as it will make the work of the development team a lot easier. So yeah, that's pretty much all I could share with you today on that topic. We are done with the fight night. I'm going to grant the rewards right away. There we go. Okay, on my side, that's pretty much it. I just want to check if you guys have any final question, anything else you would like to mention. Otherwise, we will pretty much be done for the day. I would also like to remind you guys once more that the issue for European players is sorted now. So that's actually the first thing I'm gonna do right after the fight night is over. I will go right away and let the players know that this is fixed if you were on the European markets that were affected on Android. And we will be checking at this issue with the Veil Wagon not granting the appropriate number of shards. And that should be it for today. I don't see any further questions coming in, so I'm just gonna refresh once again my chat because it doesn't show up quite well. See, I was gonna miss on something. You would love to get a custom clan account for getting first in Clan Wars. It would be cool if you'd add a number just into it for how many times you get number 1 in Clan Wars 2. I mean, if we are to have a proper Clan Wars system as we plan, an element like this will be pretty much necessary, because it's, at least from my perspective, the bragging effect is driving the competition a lot. If you see day after day, like imagine in the global red boss, every time you see a player, you can see that his clan won 10 times, but yours only won 2 times. Of course, it's gonna piss you off to see that all the time, and of course, it's gonna push you to try to go for this third win that would make the gap closer between you and that clan. So it's definitely enhancing competition. Anything like this will definitely go with, especially when it's bragging in an inoffensive way. You know, it's not hurting anyone to show how many times you won or anything like that. So we would definitely be in favor of that for sure. And yeah, there could be achievements linked to Clan Wars. Make it an objective that if you win a certain amount of time, the arts department will make a new clan icon just for them. That could be something we look into. The only fear I would have here is that it might be something where at one point we're not able to do it in a timely manner, right? And it would be unfair to treat the teams differently. What I mean by this is, imagine if at one point it takes 2 weeks to have your clan icon, etc. But then 6 months later, because we are late on the art delivery, because we need new skins that are not ready, because whatever happens, we now need 2 months to get it done, then obviously, and rightfully so, the second clan would feel kind of frustrated by this, and it makes sense. So I would rather have it as an in-game mechanics that is there for everyone and pretty standard, rather than to have it linked to art department or anything like this. But yeah, we'll see about that. Okay guys, then again, thank you very much. We'll be talking again most likely in 2 weeks. We'll also keep you updated on when will the next streams with Matt Remar take place, and we'll promote that properly as well. Thank you again for joining, and next week, Global Red Boss. Be ready. That's it for me for now. Have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to each other soon. Bye.